And I would like to propose to maybe start by presenting ourselves. Can I start with you, Imre? And maybe we stand up when we present each other, so the people in the back can also hear them.
Sveiki. Hello. My name is Imre-Gustav. I'm coming from Tallinn, Estonia. 7 years ago, we started R8 Technologies, and of course, at these days, nobody knew about artificial intelligence in real estate. Now we support over 3 million square meters of different buildings all around Europe and Japan. Thank you. Paldies.
That was very short, very modest. They are active in 20 countries now. So, okay, but we'll get back to it later. Yes.
Okay, labdien visiem. Hello, I'm Andris Krumiņš. I'm Schneider Electric Latvia, product offer manager for Baltics. And my responsibility is for the digital energy products here. Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Māris Baltbergs. I'm CEO of Altus IT. Our main focus is automation, process automation and security automation.
Hello everyone, labdien. My name is Dāvis and I'm responsible for business operations at company Intelify. And what we do, we are digitalizing building automation systems by using cloud and IoT devices.
Yeah, hi everybody, so my name is Kaspars Roškāns, I'm representing UPB. I'm CEO of UPB NAMS, that's part of the UPB group. The UPB is the biggest industrial company in Baltics, and we do everything that's starting from architecture, design, then construction phase, and also into the operations. So we do all, design, build and operate.
Wow, thank you very much. Well, I've been talking a lot this morning, so I'm not going to talk that anymore, of course. But I've prepared one thing that I would like to show to you, if we can, technical team, if we can. Okay. Well, we talked about innovation. We will do it in a minute. I put here together for you why nothing has been happening in real estate for the last 200 years, or almost nothing, and it's happening now. It's because of the structure. If you have an owner who wants to, buy a building, set up a building, he's going to look at, okay, tax consequences. He's going to look at finding an investor to buy the thing. He's going to look at the bank. Can you loan me some money to do it? Then the owner will look at who can manage the facilities of that building. Then he will look at an asset manager, of course, because he's not going to do everything on his own. And then comes the problem, because the bank is always invested in the asset manager, and the bank is always invested in the facilities manager. And the same thing for the big investor. So all the banks and all the big investors are also invested in facility managers and asset managers. And that, in the end, makes that in real estate, everyone wants the status quo. Because if you take something away here, and this is a very simple presentation, normally I have it with 40 different parameters. If you take something away, then the value of the building can change. That's where everyone is very afraid of. Or people will say, if you take something away from my piece, then I need something for your piece. So this is what is holding back innovation in real estate. But we are here to talk about brand new technologies. So I want to hear from you, Imre. How on earth did you build your company?
So first of all, I need to tell that in our team in Tallinn we have 40 people. 90% of them have very strong technical background, and 1/3 of our headquarters team has technical PhD. Unfortunately, it's not me. I'm not very technical person at all. But when we started in 2017, of course, if you want to found a company, then also people are needed who don't know too much about technology, but know about sales and finances and everything else. But the reason why actually R8 Technologies was founded was very simple. We just realized that existing infrastructures in different buildings were built up the way that the opportunities to achieve very strong results were really available. But human teams just were not able to achieve the results. And so we started to develop artificial intelligence for real estate, and our main goal is to offer the required indoor climate with minimum costs and with artificial intelligence support, of course, like I mentioned. My favorite story about artificial intelligence comes back to 1997, actually, to know what happened in 1997. It's related to Garry Kasparov and chess. Deep Blue was the first computer beating Garry Kasparov in 1997. And my question is always, was Garry Kasparov a bad player, or why he lost? The reason was very simple. Artificial intelligence just was smarter than a human. And the same we see in real estate sector, that all technologies are very complex. People are doing very good job, but they're very motivated, but still the opportunities to get bigger results or better results are very obvious. And now the interesting part, when we started, we were very self-confident that every building owner and manager is very happy that finally there is something like we have in the market. But of course we were totally naive, because if there is some new technology in the market, especially in a very conservative market like the real estate industries, then most of people just were thinking, oh, it's interesting, but you know, I have made my business plan for 15 years, and if I start using some new artificial intelligence, that is very weird actually, then maybe it doesn't last for 2 years even. What will I do then if it fails? And then of course many of potential clients were not very eager to start. But at the same time, we still found some people who were eager to start something new, who had maybe some more experience about new technologies. And so we got our first clients. It's also worth to mention that from our first 3 clients, 2 CEOs, 2 of them are now in our boat. So there is a very big risk always that if you start cooperation with other technologies, one day you might be in our boat. Thank you.
Great answer, I really like it. Well, in the end, what we're talking about, of course, is PropTech solutions or construction tech solutions, how they fit into this holistic real estate approach, or real estate management or construction approach. And Kaspars, you had very good things to say about that, because you have very, very clear ideas on how that needs to happen, that holistic approach. Maybe you can enlighten us about that.
Yeah, it's working, right? All right. The most important idea is for developers to think in the long term. And what we are seeing is that the developers who are doing the construction for themselves and are going to be the users, they are starting to think more on the long term. Therefore, they have to ask the question today, what is going to be the weather in 50 years? If the life cycle of the building is going to be 50 years, what's going to happen within those 50 years? And what type of the, let's say, potential crisis, what type of the changes we can adapt in today's thinking? Therefore, going back from the potential future scenarios today, you adapt for multiple choices, and then and that creates that obviously the problem, because that's more costly, and I would say that the big break in this is going to happen because of the taxonomy, and that's definitely going to push further on, because we'll start to calculate the cost of the real estate in the life cycle. We can currently we calculate the cost of trams in the life cycle, what's going to cost today to buy it, what's going to cost to operate it, and what's going to be the cost of service, etc., etc. And then you calculate that. So we will start to calculate overall the cost, and then all the new technologies will play way bigger role, because even if you invest today more, it's going to pay back you in the long term. And this is something that I would say the valsts nekustamā īpašuma is the driver. Was starting to use BMI as a standard. Like if a BIM solution is a standard, then you see that that is something that goes further on, and you can create a digital twin. Out of the digital twin, you obviously currently in Latvia we have a complication that there's not that many companies who can service the housing on the digital twin basis, because we're not used to it. But if the government creates demand for that and will drive that further on, then we'll see the huge expansion in the tech and PropTech companies that are producing the solutions and software and hardware technologies on that. So this is definitely something that we can see. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be a win-win. It's going to be on a green deal. It's going to help everybody, for us to have the better lives, and it's going to help the planet. But the issue we have to break is that we have to think in the longer term, and not that we want to build something quickly and sell it off, but we have to think in, hey, how is going to influence in my revenues in 5 years, 10 years, 15 to 25? Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, it's a very precise and very clear, and also because we are starting to look at everything which is beyond the life cycle. Regulation is coming out. It's going to start in 2 years, where if you build, you're going to need to tell and define how you are going to deconstruct the building in 40 years from now, and what you will do with the materials in 40 years from now. So it's going to be not that easy to calculate that. And on top of that, and I'm now thinking something that Mari said. Mari said, by the way, already now we have some buildings only 15 years old and not really completely up to the new regulations anymore. So maybe you can enlighten us on that.
Well, I'm sure most of us remember the previous boom of construction. And during that period, we had a lot of buildings built, and we can discuss the quality, we can discuss the systems used at those buildings, and the time that has passed over last 10, 15 years. They not only outdate in terms of regulations, of changes, but the hardware itself outdates, and currently, as we face quite big changes in requirements for network security, for cyber security, it's a huge challenge to keep up with those changes. So this is a part that's not that easy to, let's say, foresee in such periods. Now we can add some political questions to that and so on. But looking at the situation as it is, I'm happy to be on a panel with guys that work mostly on software, because that is one very good way to do that without changing actual hardware. And when we're looking at new construction, new buildings or old buildings that we are reconstructing in terms of technology, then my opinion is that the hardware should be very independent from the software. As soon as they are, let's say, hardwired and they are connected to each other, the actual building manager loses a lot of flexibility in terms of next potential regulations, next potential changes. Yep.
Thank you. When we look at Intelify, calculating the ROI of the implementation of a new PropTech service or a product into a project or even a company, how do you do that? Because it's not that easy to convince a corporate company or a construction company to adopt your technology. How do you look at that?
Okay, this is actually a very good question, and this is like one of the biggest problems in nowadays in our industry, that everybody wants to know that when they're going to get the back money, and how long is the investment going to pay back, and the building is like an ecosystem. There's a lot of moving parts, and if you change the automatics of the building, or you change some kind of ventilation system, and then it's very hard to calculate how much the ventilation system going to pay back, because it's connected, all the buildings connected. And there's a lot of ways how to do it, and one of the best ways what we have implemented in the industry is the digital twin. This technology actually is very good and very helpful, and not even with the I think in my perspective, there are two ways how to use mainly the digital twins. One is for artificial intelligence, that it teaches and learns the artificial intelligence. And second way is just to help to renovate the buildings. So the digital twin shows what will be the payback, what kind of device you can use for the building to change and stuff like that. And we are approaching this second approach, that we are using the digital twin for this kind of things and job. And when we talk with the clients and about the payback time, there's like a European standards, and there's a people did some studies also, and it also helps us. Like, let's say that there's classes of building optimization levels from 1 to 4, and the 4 is the lowest and the 1 is the highest, and basically you can see from these optimization levels what will be the savings. For the 1, it will be like 2 times higher optimization savings than let's say for 4 level. So there's a lot of ways, but this is a huge problem for us to actually calculate the savings. Thanks.
By the way, it's difficult for you to calculate, and it's very difficult from the point of view of the construction company or the property developer to assess if what you are saying or the calculus that you are making is right. So it's difficult from both sides.
Yes, and what I want to also mention is one of our part of our business is ESCO. So basically, we are getting money from the savings. And this is very important, that you have like very strong calculations to actually perform good in this business. Yeah. And also it's like, I think it's one of the main drivers for the renovations, because the ESCO is helping to renovate the buildings faster and more like easier to attract the investments, because you can show very precisely when the building is going to pay you back.
All right, thank you. Schneider Electric. Large company, so I have a large question for you. How do you, when you look at the maximization of property value through technical innovations that you are bringing, how do you go about that? What is your vision and your strategy on it within the framework of what we are discussing?
Yeah, okay. The first, of course, here it's a main challenge, because a new regulation is coming. Yeah, and if we are looking about real estates and main challenges what impact market now, it's new regulation with about, for example, building management systems in buildings. Yeah, and approximately 50% of building doesn't have a building management system or have old building management systems.
Wow. 50%?
Yeah, it's
is that for Latvia or is that Europe?
No, it's Europe. Yeah, but if we are talking about regulation, what is coming? Yeah, in 2025, it's each of building with energy consumptions above 290 kilowatts need to have BMS system. Yeah, and in 2027, I think it's above 70 kilowatts. Yeah, and non-residential area, of course. But and here we are Schneider. Yeah, with now looking for new technologies, and this is next challenge, because new devices, new products coming, and not only in device levels, and all devices need to be connectable. Yeah, speaking together. Yeah, we are need to have possibility to connect all systems. Yeah, in one, because for users it's very easy how we can manage our building, how we can achieve the results to building health. Yeah, for this building owners or landlords. Yeah? And we are in our factory in Riga, for example, produced a lot of now devices, IoT devices. Yeah? Part of edge control, it's controllers and servers. But we are used in our factories new softwares and analytic programs, which help us to manage processes. It's a building advisor for HVAC systems, power advisor for energy monitoring, etc. And of course, plan on our workplace advisor, because need to planning how it's working together for tenants and users.
Fully agree. I got a question from the audience, and I would like to. Well, we didn't prepare it, so I'm sorry, guys. The question is: there's a lot of old Soviet buildings in this country. And so we saw this morning, when I presented, that in the EU already 80% of the buildings in 2050 already exist now. So the question is, of that audience member here, is how on earth are we going to make those old buildings here in Latvia sustainable? And I'll start with you.
Yeah, in Estonia we have the same situation, unfortunately. If I knew what to do with all these buildings.
The question is more like, do we need to demolish them, right? Do we need to just make sure that we get them energy efficient? Do we need to do more than that? And how can we do that?
Of course, some buildings need to be demolished. This is not a secret at all. But in some cases, I'm pretty optimistic that it's possible to renovate them the way that they would be like according to modern rules and regulations. It was mentioned about ROI already here, return of investment. So what's always important that if you would like to achieve some goals in your buildings, there are always different opportunities for that. For example, you can use solar panels and change windows, additional insulation, and so on.
Heat pumps.
Heat pumps, yeah, and many other opportunities, like just increasing efficiency with artificial intelligence, or BMS, for example. So there is always a need just to understand which are the low-hanging fruits. Because sometimes it's really worse to start, or not sometimes, but actually always, to start with these low-hanging fruits, to get the first results, maybe from this additional money you just save from this higher efficiency, you can start investing into solar panels or heat pumps, for example. So there is a needed kind of plan always. What are the first priorities to do, and what opportunities just take longer time to get the positive financial revenue, but still all these issues should be handled somehow.
All right. Does Schneider Electric have a magical solution for the old buildings?
Magic solution everywhere, of course. But here I think as a first step, it need to do audit, and to collect all information about this building and systems what have. After that, can prepare the plan how we can invest and how much invest in this building, and what's the maximum return of investment will become back. Because time to time, we are talking about energy efficiency and only talking about change a kind of element. But this is as a complex solution, and here not possible to do only one, but can do it step by step. And prepare in long term, and achieve the good results. Of course, we have systems and products, but to each building, this specific solution will be.
Well, today we talk a lot about PropTech, so we talk a lot about startups. Are you working a lot with startups as Schneider Electric being? Do you sometimes buy them? Do you have a corporate venture, a CVC that you invest in them? You don't know?
I don't know.
No, so it's possible. Maybe it's not the case here, right? And maybe it's somewhere, because sometimes it happens. Same question for you. Those old buildings,
Well, I would start from visual. The old buildings, especially the Soviet buildings, just looking at them is not very nice. Simple as that. But seriously, this is a very hard question, and I cannot disagree with Schneider, because it should be a step-by-step process, starting from basically audition, because or auditing the building, because that will give the first understanding of what actually should be done. And of course, it very much will depend on the purpose of the building. We have so many different kinds of infrastructures that cannot be replaced easily. So for sure, we're auditing and looking to develop existing properties. And if we see that in many cases it's easier to demolish existing buildings and replace them with new, modern, and with a view in future, I think that is much smarter decision than keeping the old ones. Thank you.
I agree with you, yes.
So I will totally agree with the gentlemen before me that talked that at first you have to assess the situation and understand in which building you can actually put some money in and get out the results, and which building is more easier to just demolish. But I think the problem is more complex, and it's divides in two sectors, which is like public buildings, and the second one is residential buildings, and each of those sectors have different challenges and problems. And if we talk about residential buildings, that the question is that where do other people, if we are going to demolish the buildings, where are going to live? Because recently, if we check the situation in the residential building, that there are only luxury, mostly built. The residential buildings are for higher class or upper class, and there's no middle class buildings built. And one of the reasons is because we have these old Soviet Union buildings which can support this lower class living and the ones who live there. And the second thing is, if we talk about the public sector and old buildings, it's not actually so hard to actually improve the building's performance. And from our perspective, if we talk about optimization, if we just introduce the optimization, or even if we just set up all the sensors and get some information how the building is working, we can improve the efficiency from just starting from 5% up to 40% just with the software improvements and the optimization. And actually it's a very low investment if we compare to other things what we can do with the building. So.
Yeah, I can only agree to whatever all of the previously what was said. The idea would be audit, very clear scorecard, which buildings can be refurbished, which should be demolished. The biggest question always is how to fund them. I would say that the funding model could work from the savings. If you say that currently on this inefficient building the cost is going to be X, then if you demolish the building, create a new building, and then it is let's say 3-4 times more efficient, then you can pay back part of that from the cost. And if you look at the long term, again on the 50 years or something like that, you can even create a fund that would cost the next level of refurbishment that will be needed in 50 years. So we would not get back to the same problem when in 50 years we'll have again a lot of old buildings that nobody knows how to fund them. So this type of the model that if you can refurbish them, figure out there comes a new type of materials, I don't know, recycled wood, etc., how to make new panels. You can create them more attractive with the facades. If you can slightly make them more attractive, the old ones. But yes, the sustainable model should be if you can create let's say the zero cost, super efficient building, then obviously if a household cost of living increases by, let's say, 10%, but they are now moving to the new building, and now that the ownership will transfer and the credit is going to be covered from the savings part, that is definitely something sustainable that we can look at. Definitely some EU funds will need to be coordinated to help to push forward this, but this should be the way that you should establish what is the cost of living of household, and if you can go below that, then all the savings parts you can give to the construction part, and then calculate, can you refurbish, is that more efficient, or you create just a new building?
It's an interesting point of view, I think, yeah.
Just one small note about this topic of line of priorities and low-hanging fruits. It's called a total concept methodology. I don't know how many of you have heard about that, but Estonian state real estate is using that, as much I know, and probably I can share some links with Jaanis later, and Jaanis can share this with all the attendees here.
You're going to share? All right. Good. Since we are here today at VNī, which is like public, private, right? Public and a bit private, or? Well, but it's good for my question. So yes or no? Government should be the leading example in supporting PropTech sector in Latvia, and not the private sector. The government, public sector should be leading. Yes or no? What do you think?
It's a tough question to answer because
it's an important one for your country.
Yes, and we are in this event, and I would say yes, but the government instances also has to change to actually be able to support. And
what do you mean by that?
They have to be more open to the innovations. They have to be more They have to understand the ecology system of the startup scene and how the investment is working. Because this is because I'm also coming from startup scene, and I see this is a huge problem that they just don't realize. They don't understand what is happening here, and most of the cases they are just talking about the technology, but what's really happening, they're lacking the action. But other than that, I think it's a good idea that government is helping, but they have to realize and understand in what kind of things they can help, because I think they have to understand the SMEs are not the startups, and there are different needs for SMEs, and there's different needs for startups. And what I want to say you about that is that the funding is different and the needs are like completely different. So, yeah.
I could quickly just add, I would definitely agree that the public sector should drive the innovation, and I'll give one example from Sweden. We do produce a lot of prefabricated concrete, and that's not very CO2 friendly. And before the taxonomy actually hit, we saw that in Sweden, that's the biggest export market, when the business is booming, the need of green buildings from the private sector is high. But in instant when COVID hit and then the war in Ukraine, you see that everybody goes back to the core business, and it means that as cheap as you can get, until the government does not regulate the CO2, we don't care about that. We try to give that, and demand for green concrete was reduced significantly. And this is where government can step in and drive that part further on the policy, what type of the buildings they want to see.
I would add that I see an issue with the public sector being the driver, because public sector is much less flexible. So as soon as we are talking about private sector, at least what we see in our daily business is that they're more open, because that directly influences their revenue savings, and basically in our case, quite easy to calculate and see an immediate effect. The problem with public sector is that even if we do the same calculation and we look at this technology or new type of buildings or whatever, with failure, it immediately becomes a news sensation. With failure, we talk about taxpayers' money. So I would say that one of the best ways to approach this is to look at bigger private corporations that have implemented the technology, that already have the experience, that are ready to share this experience with the public sector, and then based on similar approach, it would be much clearer what kind of result would be done in the end. Of course, I would love to agree with the gentleman and say that it would be great if a company like VNī would be a driver. And
That's why we are here today, right?
As the best example, right? So, but we see and we do understand how high the risk is and how complicated it can be.
How do you feel about that, Schneider? You must have a lot of ideas about that because you are so big that you can influence.
Ideas, yeah, but anything, it's all, I think, here it's a hero. What I have to talk now, but anyway, it's I'm happy to process it's started and we are moving to positive with results, and with of course regulation from one side, but anyway from other side we need to be ready to all these processes what is happening, from implementation stage to investment, etc.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna close up now. I will ask each of you now, starting with you, Kaspars, just in 30 seconds, how do you see PropTech evolving in Latvia?
I think that because of the legislation part, the PropTech is going to boom quite fast, definitely. And we are seeing that currently we're seeing some new ideas, and more and more obviously the private sector companies, when you see the cash positive case, they'll definitely go for that. If there's an innovation that we don't know how this material will look like ever, and on its super green, then the public sector should drive that. And but anyway, I'm seeing because of the EU legislation part, it's definitely go way faster on, and I think the disruptive thing that will happen in other industries, that real estate is next.
Good, thanks, Dāvis.
So. As you can see, like Latvia, also like PropTech and everything else, you can see in Latvia there's one of the best internets in Europe, right? 5G. And from your slides, I have seen that we are quite ready to actually grow faster. And regarding the technology and our ability to get and use a new technology, I think Latvia is in the forefront, and I think the boom is coming, and it's coming faster than we think. And we just have to be ready, and I think from all that IT infrastructure, everything is on the place that it should happen very soon.
All right, thank you.
I agree, and it is very important that we have foreign experience coming in, not only through organizations like this, but from local businesses, because events like these and information of the technology used already, and having the statistics from experience will only help growing the organization like this.
Thank you.
I think this is positively, because here we can, of course, a little bit learn, because you have experience, and here it's more understandable, maybe about different requirements and what is coming.
Thank you.
I would say that it's very positive that PropTech is not kind of a newborn baby anymore, but it's coming like a regular business. So it means that if you are
Like fintech.
yeah, genau. And if you are thinking about some, let's say, new technologies or new partnerships, you can really select these new technologies and partners based on all typical business criteria, and you don't need to think so much about it's something you wear, and I don't know if it works at all. Maybe after 2 months these guys will start doing something else. But yeah, it's really a business now.
It's really great. Well, I hope that you picked some of the ideas that were presented here today. I would like to thank all of you for your participation and your ideas, and I would like to thank you for your attention.